dig deep and finish with everything you have. Because it's got to be left on the field. Physically, mentally, emotionally. Because we'll pick each other up as your family does. Let's go.
We are in the desert for Legends Cup 2016. Welcome, fans, inside the booth of LFL Football Night. We've got a great matchup for you for the 2016 Legends Cup, the Seattle Mist and the Chicago Bliss. Now let's talk about Seattle first. We've got a big unknown, and that is the health of Danica Brace. Is she 100% after sustaining the injury versus Dallas in the Western Conference Championship? And for Chicago, they're going to continue to ride the arm of Jacinda Barkley and the legs of the Ferrari Harris. Let's welcome in my broadcast partner now, Bobby Huco. Bobby, a great matchup. A lot of us penciled this in when the schedule came out. What are the X factors for both these two teams?
Well, you mentioned the major players, the ones that are superstars that are going to play tonight. But what concerns me is that running game for Seattle. Seattle's got that thunder and lightning combination. Dominique Malloy, the fastest player in the league, and then the fullback, Stevie Schnorr, 5 yards to carry. They have to play the same way they played when they beat Dallas in that Western Conference Championship game.
Now, that's for the Seattle side of the football. What are the keys for Chicago? We talked about Jacinda Barkley, A.J. Johnson, and Christelle the Ferrari Harris. What are your keys?
I think A.J. Johnson. We know Harris is going to show up. She always shows up in the playoffs. You have a rookie quarterback in the LFL U.S., Jacinda Barkley, but the key is A.J. Johnson. She's developed into the #1 receiver in the LFL. She has great hands, great catch radius, and speed to get by any coverage. They have to get the ball to her early to open up that running game for Harris.
Now, I also like Shabria Civilian on that side of the ball offensively. We don't talk about her much. Now, who's going to police all those weapons for Chicago? It's got to be Danica Brace, right? But we talked about it earlier. She's not 100%. You met with her personally earlier in the week. You've met with LFL medical staff. You've even talked to coaches around the league. So where do we stand with Danica Brace coming into the Legends Cup?
Danica Brace, in 2015, she was the most valuable player, the defensive player of the year. You mentioned LFL medical. That is key. They have cleared her, but I would say she's probably only about 60%. But there's no way Danica Brace is going to stay out of this championship game. She's ready to go tonight. I'm looking forward to seeing her playing.
That will do it for us here for the pregame show. Next up, will it be KK Matheny and Danica Brace going back-to-back in the Legends Cup? Or does Christelle the Ferrari Harris in Chicago regain their glory? Kickoff is next. Back to the Legends Cup here in Scottsdale, Arizona. Tamar Fennell, the Chicago Bliss, trying to regain their glory, while Seattle tries to go back-to-back. Bobby Huco, Mitch Mortaza, and Desi Mitchison.
We have the two Titans in a championship game. It does not get better than this.
Seattle and KK Matheny taking over as we look at her 2016 numbers. Up and down a bit, a 72 QBR. Now a 1st and 10. They're going to try down the field early. That is Dominique Malloy connecting with KK Matheny on a 33-yard reception.
That was quarterback KK Matheny's finest pass of the year. On her pre-snap read, she saw Fry line up inside, showing straight man-to-man coverage. She is the speed demon. Malloy outside one-on-one. Just a perfect pass. What a start for Seattle.
A 1st and goal going back to Malloy. And Malloy getting our first score in the 2016 Legends Cup. A 2-yard touchdown run.
Great blocking at the point of attack. What a start for Seattle. Chicago is in shock right now. That pass by Matheny, we've been waiting for that all season long, just right on the money.
The extra point attempt now, Dominique Malloy lining up in the Wildcat. This will be a 2-point attempt by this Seattle offense. Trying to get to the outside. Great open field tackle. Tamar Fennell, one of the unsung heroes of this postseason run for Chicago.
It looked like it was there. A good stalk block by Bryn Rend on the outside, but Tamar Fennell from the safety position came flying up to stop that conversion. Great play by Tamar.
Now we get a look at Chicago's offense. An offense coming in 4th ranked in the league, but really came on toward the latter part of the season with A.J. Johnson and Jacinda Barkley becoming comfortable with one another.
That combination became one of the best passing combos in the LFL. Now, the question is, in a game like this, Barkley, you see her numbers, great numbers for her first year in LFL US, only 3 interceptions, but can she get the ball to A.J. Johnson against his tough Seattle secondary?
They're going to try down the field just like Seattle. That was attempted for A.J. Johnson. They're going to target her down the field quite a bit.
Johnson had a step on Fowler. Barkley had her there. If she put a little more air into it, it would have been a touchdown for Chicago, just a little bit overthrown.
You get the sense that Chicago offensive coordinator Jim Bruner is trying to stretch that defense a bit to inevitably set up Christelle the Ferrari Harris.
You are 100% correct. You stretch that defense, the safeties goes back, and Harris, she always comes to play in the playoffs. It opens up holes for her.
A 2nd and 10 handoff to Christelle Harris. Nothing doing early. That was Danica Brace. If you wondered about her health, there's your answer. Let's meet the starters for Chicago.
A.J. Johnson, wide receiver.
Shabria Civilian, wide receiver.
Ava Mae Gamble, tight end.
Dina Fagiano, tight end.
Brittany Wilson, center.
Ferrari Harris, B, running back.
Jacinda Barkley, quarterback.
The question tonight is how quarterback Jacinda Barkley handles the pressure of her first Legends Cup game.
A 3rd and 9 play for Barkley, looking to pass, well overthrown. It did not look like Barkley's feet were set, and that ball sailed above Shabria Civilian. Now let's meet Seattle's defensive starters.
Stevie Schnorr, middle linebacker.
Rashonda Fowler, corner.
Shay Norton, defensive end.
Melly Rich, cornerback. Danica Brace, strong safety.
Kim Chafe, defensive end.
Jessica Hopkins, free safety.
As we mentioned in pregame, the question tonight is the health of Danica Brace. How long can she go? Can she make the entire game?
We've got a trips right set now on a 4th and 9 for Chicago. From the shotgun, Barkley back to pass. Looking in the flat, has a receiver. She will not get to the sticks. That was Harris. About 2 yards short, and they'll turn it over. Back to Seattle.
Barkley looked deep, trying to get A.J. Johnson. Good coverage by Jessica Hopkins. Christelle the Ferrari Harris needs to get the 9 yards. She pulled up at 7. A good pass, good completion, but 2 yards short.
Seattle's offense only took 37 seconds in their opening drive. This is an offense built around the run game primarily with Dominique Malloy and Stevie Schnorr. But don't sleep on Brent Renda.
Not at all. Chris Michelson, the head coach, he couldn't be happier about the start of this game. The offense looks great. The defense already stopped Chicago, and the offense is back on the field.
Now a 2-back set. KK Matheny under center. Handing it off to the bull. That is Stevie Schnorr. Schnorr gaining 3 yards. Kim Perez on the tackle.
Stevie Schnorr, she has the big road graders up front. That's what Seattle has to do. Pound the ball with Stevie Schnorr. Open it up for Malloy outside.
Seattle back in the hurry-up offense. They had success with that in their initial drive. Matheny this time in the shotgun. Dropping back to pass with some pressure. A release play. That was intended for Brent Renda. Deandra Fry blanketed all over Brent Renda.
Definitely a penalty on Fry coming across the middle. She almost takes Renda's head off, but it's actually a good penalty. It's going to tell Renda, do not come across the middle anymore like that.
Do not lock in! Huddle up! Huddle the up! See that from a mile away! They're keeping the weak side corner there! You gotta look!
Coach Michelson not happy with KK Matheny's recognition of Chicago's defense.
He's not happy at all right now. He thinks that should have been a touchdown for Seattle. He'll be all over KK all night. He does that all the time. He loves KK Matheny, but when she's not right, he'll be all over her.
This will set up a 1st and goal ball at the 10-yard line. After that Fry pass interference, Fry has been out most of the season for Chicago. A key component in the secondary.
Not a great start, though. She got burnt by Malloy and a big penalty right there.
1st and goal from the shotgun, rolling right. That is a dump off. Complete to Christine Moore. Moore coming out of retirement, a former all-fantasy center with the Mist, now playing tight end.
Moore is a key return as a veteran for Seattle.
Let's meet the starters for this offense.
Stevie Schnorr, running back.
Danica Brace, tight end.
Christine Moore, tight end. Dominique Malloy, wide receiver.
Bryn Renda, wide receiver.
Jenna Weiss, center.
KK Matheny, quarterback.
Going to be interesting watching quarterback KK Matheny. She didn't have a great year. Can she come back and repeat as a champion quarterback?
A second and goal toss play. They're trying to get Dominique Malloy more involved in the offense. Has had a huge impact early. That was only a 1-yard gain.
That's what they have to do. She has world-class speed, and you see a little limp there. That's actually good for Chicago. Hope she's not hurt, because this speed is absolutely incredible how she gets outside. That's a great play. Sealing off the outside, she had nothing there.
A third and goal ball at the 6-yard line. This is a must stop if you're Chicago. You cannot afford to get down to this explosive offense by more than one score this early.
If this offense gets on a roll, it's one of the most potent offenses ever in the LFL. You're right, Chicago needs to stop right now.
A third and goal ball at the 6-yard line. Matheny back to pass. That is deflected by all-fantasy defensive end Chantel Taylor. That looked like a release play to Jenna Weiss.
That was a release play. Chantel Taylor had that smelled out. Great coaching by Coach Hack.
Chantel Taylor headlining a defense that is third ranked in the league. Let's meet their starters.
Dominique Collins, cornerback. Deandra Fry, cornerback. Kim Perez, free safety. Tamar Fennell, strong safety. Kristen Morrison, linebacker. Chantel Taylor, your DN. Yashi Rice, defensive end.
Defensive Player of the Year, Kristen Morrison, has to shut down that inside running game of Seattle.
Now a fourth and goal. Chicago did not like what they saw. The Bliss call a timeout, and they trail this one 6-0.
Like your favorite LFL players and teams and receive breaking news stories. The LFL's official Facebook page, facebook.com/mylfl.
Back to the Legends Cup here in Scottsdale, Arizona. Mitch Mortaza and Bobby Huco with the broadcast honors. Seattle leading 6-0.
This play right here is huge for KK Matheny. She has to come through. If they can somehow get in right now, they'll be up 2 scores early in the game against Chicago.
This offense has been getting off to good starts. Did so against Dallas and here early against Chicago. Matheny back to pass, has Danica Brace. And Brace drops the sure touchdown. I wonder if the injury factored in. We met up with her.
Danica, from a health standpoint, are you 100% coming into the Legends Cup?
Dealing with a pretty serious injury, and it's definitely uncomfortable. But you know what? This is a championship game, so I have to do what I have to do to go out there and stand next to my team.
You could see on that play, the injury does come into effect. You got to blame the quarterback a little bit. Knowing her receiver, Brace, has a bad back, you got to place that ball right in her chest. That was a tough catch for Brace with a bad back to make, but in a championship game, you have to make that catch. That would have been a touchdown for Seattle.
Barkley in Chicago taking over from the 5. Looking down the field, has A.J. Johnson in the open field. And Johnson will score.
A.J. Johnson, we spoke about her in the pregame, the ex-basketball player going up for a rebound, it looked like. Came down with the ball. Jessica Hopkins late getting over from safety. Johnson pulls it down. Hopkins flies by her, and she takes it all the way coast to coast for a Chicago touchdown. Wow!
And look at this crackback block that Christelle Harris lays on Melee Rich to really open it up for Johnson.
What a turn of events. That's a 14-point turn. The drop pass by Danica Brace for a touchdown, and then Johnson comes right back for a long score for the Bliss.
A 1-point attempt from the 1-yard line. That's Jacinda Barkley. No shot at it there. Our score will remain 6-6. You said it, Bobby. That was a 2-score turn of events.
Just like that, Seattle could have this game in hand, but Coach Hack and the Chicago Bliss, as always in championships, makes a run in one play. They are back in the ball game.
For Seattle, you have got to answer here. And I think you go back to a Dominique Malloy to set up the long ball to Bryn Renda.
You have to. Dominique Malloy, you're right, stretch the coverage. They know they should go deep. Bryn Renda has not been used except for that one attempt coming across the middle.
1st and 10 as Matheny once again observes that defense. A 2-back set with Malloy and Schnorr again. This time it'll be Malloy getting to the outside. Look at the stiff arm. Working her way down the sideline. That was a 17-yard run.
Trying to tackle Dominique Malloy is like trying to catch a lightning bolt. That whole great blocking up front by the Seattle line, but she gets through it so quick. Watch this, a huge hole, but then she is gone. Bam! She is by the defense of Chicago for a huge game for Seattle.
Give her some credit. That open field stiff arm on Shabria Civilian added another 10 yards to that play.
That's in offensive football, speed kills. Dominique Malloy can kill a defense.
That Malloy run sets up 1st and 10 all the way down to the Chicago 18-yard line. Matheny under center, faking the handoff, rolling right, has a receiver. That is Stevie Schnorr, a 5-yard gain. They love to work the flats in Seattle. You saw it earlier with Jenna Weiss, and now with Stevie Schnorr.
KK Matheny has to get rid of the ball quicker, get the ball to Schnorr so she can run. That was too late.
That is a sight Bliss fans do not want to see. Dominique Collins down on all fours. In case you're wondering, she's the all-fantasy cornerback and has been part of this big run for Keith Hack and this Chicago Bliss.
It looks like she's holding her chest area, with hopefully she's just out of breath, got hit in the chest, out of wind. Hopefully that's all it is.
A 2nd and 5 ball at the Chicago 13. Seattle once again with the 2-back set. This time the handoff goes to Schnorr. And good luck if number 2 gets in the open field. That was a gain of 6 yards, tackled by Kristen Morrison.
What a drive block by center Jenna Weiss. She drove back linebacker Kristen Morrison 10 yards, and Morrison was the defensive player of the year this year in the LFL. 10 yards before she could go horizontally after the ball. Jenna Weiss just destroyed her.
There's a look at Weiss, traveling all the way from New York to be part of this roster. Weiss spent some time with the Tampa Breeze down in Florida alongside KK Matheny and Bryn Renda. So there's that bit of familiarity here in the roster.
And Sage Steinmetz, who's not here tonight, but there was 4 players that came from Tampa.
A 1st and goal dump off. And I'm not sure if Dominique Malloy caught that. They're going to give her credit for the reception, a 4-yard gain.
You have to give credit to KK Matheny, making like Bernie Kosar, kind of sidearm, slung it out there. Not a great pass, but Malloy came up with it.
Getting the ball down to the Chicago 3-yard line as we near the 1-minute mark of the first quarter. This game already living up to its billing, a 6-6 battle between the Eastern and Western Conference champions. Now an interesting formation with 3 backs. That's LaShonda Fowler. Pick your poison. Touchdown, Seattle.
That was a full house backfield. You could go any way you want with Schnorr back there, Malloy. And Fowler doesn't get many touches anymore with the emergence of Malloy at running back, but she is a speed merchant of her own kind. She gets the ball, gets around the edge, and gets into the end zone.
LaShonda Fowler, one of those roster players, one of those role players that has been with this organization for a long time, and truly one of the unsung heroes.
Coach Chris Michelson using everybody tonight. We saw Christine Moore earlier, now LaShonda Fowler. Wow.
The extra point attempt no good by Stevie Schnorr. Our score will remain 12-6 Seattle.
Hike it and go in. Oh, it's wide open. But you can't sit there for an hour and then tell everybody you're going to do it.
Coach Michelson still upset with his quarterback. That'll bring us to the end of the first quarter. The Western Conference champion Seattle leading it 12-6.